Hey, welcome back to my channel. Now that I did Freddy vs. Jason, I was going to go back to do the 1 through 4 of the Paramount years, but I figured why I'm doing a New Line Films, I should do the Friday 13th remake, the 2009 movie, which is more of a sequel than it is a remake, technically, but whatever. Now, Paramount had nothing to do with this franchise since 1989 when Jason Takes Manhattan came out, and when New Line got the rights in 93 to make Jason Goes to Hell, they only had the rights to the Jason character. They didn't have rights to the title Friday the 13th. That's why it never came in. This movie was actually a co-production between New Line and Paramount. That's why it's called Friday the 13th. They were able to work it out, and they co-produced the movie. Michael Bay had a production company, and they're still making movies. I'm making it sound like they're not around anymore, but they are actively around. I do believe they're still developing some horror remakes or other movies to make. But they were coming off of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, which was a big hit. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, they had done that one, and they had Friday the 13th on their sites next. Now, the two guys who wrote Freddy vs. Jason came back to write this movie. For better or worse, I'll let you decide. And then they brought Marcus Nispel in to direct the movie. He was the gentleman who directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. And he also made a movie with Carl Urban called Pathfinder. If you remember that movie, I've seen it once. I mean, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, do I think it's better than the original? No, but I think it's not a bad remake. Although I would contend that movie really didn't need to be remade, but whatever, we got it, and it's not a bad remake. I'm not a huge fan of his directing style. I mean, the movie looks pretty, and there's some cool stuff in it, but I don't know. He's not the best director, but whatever. They brought Jared Padalecki in as Clay. Amanda Rigetti plays his sister in the movie. Danielle Panabaker's in the movie as well. She's no stranger to horror films. She'd done some before this film. Travis Van Winkle's in the movie. He plays the resident asshole of the movie, although he has people with him going to his cabin. Why, I don't know, because he's just a dick to them all, but they all hang out with him, so whatever. We also got a new Jason in this movie, which at this point, rightfully so. Derek Mears plays Jason, and I will say he's definitely one of the best Jasons we've ever had. He's big, he's agile, he's fast, he's definitely dangerous, and he looks cool with the makeup on and the mask. I wish if they made a sequel, they'd bring him back or another movie, but it's Friday the 13th right now is stuck in legal court over rights issues between the original writer, Victor Miller, from the original movie, and Sean Cunningham. And I don't know when that's going to be settled, so we ain't getting a Friday the 13th movie anytime soon, at least. Anyway, the movie starts off with like a reimagining of the end of the original movie, shot in black and white. We see Mrs. Voorhees, although Betsy Palmer wasn't in the movie, obviously. And they show her getting her head cut off. And Jason witnesses it. They show it in this movie. And then we get introduced to some characters. Two couples and one single kid. And they're hiking along through the woods around Crystal Lake looking for this field of marijuana that's being grown in secret that they want to find and sell. That's their game plan. That's their only reason to be out there. And Clay's sister, Amanda Righetti's character, is there with her boyfriend. There's the other couple, and then this geeky dude. And they decide to set up camp. They haven't found it yet, but they set up camp near Crystal Lake. Amanda Righetti and her boyfriend take off for Crystal Lake just to, nose around a little bit. And the other couple start getting into having sex, and the single kid goes off to see if he can take a leak and see if he can find this field of marijuana, see if it's close by. He stumbles upon it while he's taking a leak by accident and ends up getting killed by Jason. Now, at this point in the movie, Jason's just wearing a burlap sack, just like he did in the original Friday the 13th Part 2. And he looks cool and intimidating, even with the sack on. And then our kid's back at the camp getting it on. The girl gets put in a sleeping bag and hung up from a tree and set on fire. And the kid gets his leg caught in a bear trap. And then Jason goes back after the other people that are in the camp, Amanda Righetti's character and her boyfriend. He kills him. She takes off back towards camp to warn the others. And she finds him in the bear trap and everybody else is dead. She can't get him out. Jason shows up and buries his machete in the kid's head. And then he goes after her, and it shows him coming down with the machete, and then it cuts to black, and then we get the title sequence. which is actually like 20 minutes in the movie. It's a very long prologue before they showed the title. And you think these people are going to be your main characters. They're dead, but it's a really cool, effective sequence in the beginning of the movie. And Jason's ruthless, and he's great. Then we're introduced to Clay. He's going around trying to find it. We find out that Amanda Rigetti was his sister, and he's looking for her. And this is where we're introduced to Travis Van Winkle's character, Daniel Panabaker, and their group of friends as they're going to Travis Van Winkle's, his character's cabin for the weekend, his parents' cabin for the weekend. And right away, he's good at being an asshole, Travis Van Winkle, in this movie. In real life, he seems like he's nice. I've seen interviews with him, but in this movie, he's definitely a prick. And I don't know why anybody's hanging out with him, but there's a bunch of them going to this cabin to party all weekend. And Clay and him meet up, just cross paths. They don't get along, and that sets up some confrontations later in the movie. They go ahead to the cabin. Clay goes on looking for his sister, which we find out then that she's still alive and Jason's holding her captive because she reminds him of his mother. And Jason has these tunnels underneath Camp Crystal Lake. Now, this point I do not like in this movie. I think this is dumb as hell. But they decide to go that direction. And then along the way, Jason stumbles across this farm where this idiot works for this farmer, hanging out in the garage looking at a porno mag, smoking a joint. And he hears a noise upstairs, and he goes upstairs, and there's Jason. And the kid manages to get off his burlap sack, and they show a quick glimpse of what he looks like. He looks cool, but they don't show it enough to really appreciate the makeup effect. And Jason kills this kid. Thank God, he's annoying character. And then by accident, there's almost like a burlap tarp behind this kid after he kills him, and he rips it down, and there's the mask. Jason gets his hockey mask. And it looks great. Jason looks awesome in this movie, no doubt. And then Jason sets his sights on the cabin where all the kids are. And there's a lot of sex, a lot of nudity in this movie. So if you like that stuff, you're good at plenty of here. And the girls are very attractive, so no problems there. One by one, Jason kills these kids. Two of the kids go off on his boat and at Crystal Lake. He takes them out. It's pretty cool. He kills the one kid with a bow and arrow right through the eye. And then the girl gets killed. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but it's pretty cool. And there's some axe action in there. One kid gets killed by an axe, and one gets messed up with. And then the cop shows up, and he doesn't last very long. It's all typical Friday the 13th stuff, but it's all what we were looking for because we hadn't gotten that in a while. Clay discovers the tunnels, and his sister's still alive. They go down with Daniel Panabaker's character, get her back, and they're trying to get out before Jason finds them. Jason kills Daniel Panabaker. Clay and his sister get away. They go back to that barn. And basically, Jason's death in this movie is not the greatest. He gets caught with a chain around his neck and a wood chipper. And his head's like getting messed up by the blades inside of it. And then at the end, they dump his body in the lake. And they're sitting there by the lake, and the movie closes with Jason jumping out of the lake and grabbing Clay's sister and pulling her into the lake. And that's it. The movie's over. I know there's a bunch of people don't like this movie. Honestly, it pretty much gave you everything you want in a Friday the 13th movie. It didn't do anything different with it. I mean, some of the acting's pretty good. These actors are better than what we usually get. But it's also a lot of stock characters. They're not given much to do besides being idiotic kids drinking and smoking weed and getting picked off one by one and having sex. And that's pretty much all you get. It's pretty much what they did was they took everything everybody liked about the original series and threw it in a blender and put it in this movie. Jason looks badass. He's great in the movie. Jared Padalecki's good in the movie as Clay, and some of the other Daniel Panabaker's good. His Amanda Rigetti's good. Travis Van Winkle's good. The actors are all pretty good, even though they're not really given that much to do. The directing's fine. Like I said, Marcus Nispel's not my favorite director. He makes it look all pretty. Some of his choices, though, I'm not a director though, so what the hell do I know? But I think they could have picked somebody better, but. Again, there's rumors that Platinum Dooms like to pick him because they can tell him what to do and he'd do it. They never seem to hire people with a complete vision that is going to fight for what they want. But whatever. We got what we got. I would give the movie a 7 out of 10. I think it's the best. I think it was a good attempt to bring Friday the 13th back. It did make a lot of money. They had a $19 million budget, which was pretty high for a Friday the 13th standalone movie. And it made some bucks. I mean, it made a lot. It had a big opening weekend. It opened at like $34 million, I think it opened. And I saw it opening weekend. And but then it had a big drop off. I think it did finish around. It did make some money. and they never made a sequel, and it languished for a while, and they had ideas, and there was starts and stops, and now we're in a legal battle with it, so who knows when we'll get another movie. It'd be nice to see Jason on the big screen again. It's been 11 years now, but who knows when we're going to see it. But yeah, it's definitely it's a cool Friday the 13th movie. It's not my favorite. Part 4 is still my favorite. I like Part 4 a lot more than I like Part 4 more, by far. But I think it was a good attempt to bring Jason back. Some of the choices made I don't agree with, but at the end of the day, if you're a Friday the 13th fan, they pretty much delivered what you would expect from a Friday the 13th movie without doing anything different. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for me. That's the 2009 Friday the 13th. I will get back to the Paramount years 1 through 4 shortly, and that's it. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you thought of it down below. It's a decent sequel. I don't consider it a remake. It's more like a sequel to the original movie. It's like an amalgamation of like 2, 3, and 4 wrapped into one movie, kind of. But it's a decent movie, and I enjoyed it. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but I did. So that's it for me. Have a great day, and I will be back soon. Thanks. Bye.